Hey, Topic Aligns Math and History, and we're gonna try to find the slope without a graph. So, in the last video, we have been reviewing what a slope is, what the equation y equals mx plus b is, and the 4 different types of slopes. So, we reviewed that a slope is y divided by x, or rise over run. And when we read a slope, we have an example like y equals 3x plus 2. Here is 2 right here on the y-axis. So we go 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, and so on. It's basically like climbing stairs. Remember, slope is rise divided by run, and slope can also be y divided by x. That's what this represents, y, x. But there's actually a formula that we're going to be using to find our slope, and it's going to be used by connecting 2 points on a graph. So what happens if the directions say to find the slope if our first point is 1, 2, and our second point is 5, 3? What is that slope? So, referring back to the slope formulas, the slope, unlike other formulas, actually has different formulas that represent the same thing, like rise, run, or yx. But when you have 2 points and you try to find the slope, we're gonna get y, the second y, subtract that by our first y, divide that by our second x, subtract that by our first x. So that is going to be our new formula that we're learning when you have 2 points but without a graph. So when you insert the numbers into the formula, you have to be very, very careful, because you might put the numbers in the wrong spot. So we're going to have the letter M represent our slope. And what we're going to do is mark off which numbers are in their positions. Like, we got to focus on the second y and subtract that by the first y. That is saying that with the 2 points, the 3 is going to be our second y, because the 2 is going to represent our first y. When you have points or plots on a graph, they will always come with the x first and the y second in parentheses. But since we have 2 of them, we're going to say that the 2 is the first y, and the number 3 in the second point on the graph is our second y. So we're going to say 3, subtract that by 2. Now we gotta divide and find out what our x's are. So, we have 1 and we have 5 right there. The number 1 is going to be our first x, because it's the first point that is mentioned in this problem. And the number 5 is going to be our second x, because that's the second point on this problem that was mentioned. So we're going to have 5 minus 1. And when you do that, you're going to get your answer as a slope. So 3 minus 2 will become 1. And 5 minus 1 is going to become 4. So when you do that, that is your final slope. 1 over 4, or 1/4. So that means you go up 1 and run by 4. 1, 4. 1, 4. So, if you ever try plotting these on a graph and you connected the lines between the two dots, you will get a slope of 1/4. Let's fact check on an actual graph. Yes, we got this one correct. We have successfully found the slope without a graph. And when you see it on the last clip, you notice that the slope was going up by 1, 4, 1, 4. But it doesn't help you find the y-intercept unless you use a ratio table and do the math. 1.75 was the starting position on the graph. So if you put 1.75 on the graph as your starting point, it would start out here, and it would look like this. If you just write y equals 1/4x, then the line wouldn't be touching the 2 points. So trying to find the y-intercept while finding the slope isn't really a good idea. But at least we found the slope though. If you have an equation that looks like this, when you insert your points into the slope formula for finding the slope, if you have -5 minus that by -5, those minus symbols are having If you see this on your slope formula, when you insert your numbers into the formula, and you have -5 minus that by -5, then the two negative signs will cancel out and they will turn into a positive symbol because you have the parts to make a positive symbol. So it's literally saying -5 plus 5. And if you have something that's normal, like 7 minus 2, which can be easy, that's going to be 5. So this is the slope for this example. If you have negative minus that by a -5, for example. I hope this video has helped you. Thank you for watching Tao Ping Airlines Math Industry. Like and subscribe.